Not that giant one.
Learn to throw your voice, fool your friends, fun and party.
No, we just want to get some people out of our house.
I understand. Well, in order to do that, I'm really gonna get to know you guys. You know, we gotta get closer, move in with you for a while, get to be real pals. You know what I'm saying? We'll save that guy for later.
My wife and I would like to ask you a couple of questions.
Sure. Go ahead, shoot.
Well, for instance, what are your qualifications?
Well, I attended Juilliard. I'm a graduate of the Harvard Business School. I travel quite extensively. I lived through the Black Plague, and I had a pretty good time during that. I've seen The Exorcist about 167 times, and it keeps getting funnier every single time I see it. Not to mention the fact that you're talking to a dead guy. Now, what do you think? You think I'm qualified?
What I mean is, can you be scary?
Oh, I know you're asking me. Can I be scary? What do you think of this? You like it?
Excuse us, please.
Sure, talk amongst yourselves.
Oh, let's go.
I know, Barbara, honey, but I think he could be of some use
No,
later
let's
on.
need to work something out ourselves. We just have to talk.
Yeah.
Hey!
Excuse me?
What?
Excuse me. We are leaving now.
Oh, wait. Oh, come on. Don't go yet. Hey, guy, come on. We're simpatico here. Look at us. Huh? We even shop at the same store. Hey, hermano. Yeah, there you go. Hey, look, come on. We're like peas in a pod, the three of us. Let's face it, you want somebody out of the house. I want to get somebody out of your house. Come on. Look, we've been to Saturn. Hey, I've been to Saturn. Whoa. Sandworms. You hate them, right? I hate them myself. Come on, kids. What do I have to do to strike a deal with you two, huh? Don't you hate it when that happens?
Let's go, Barbara.
Wait a minute. Come on. Just come up for a while. We'll talk inside.
What's up, everyone? Yesterday I was playing around in a Fix Assistant trying to come up with some alternative recipes for creating a 4-slot Guardian Soul unit that you could then use the augment transfer process to upslot to a more powerful unit. And one of the recipes that I came up with ended up being really simple to understand compared to what you would see in most recipes. So today I want to go over this recipe and explain how it works, because I think it's really cool. Now, another benefit of this recipe is going to be the potential to create a market for fodder for it. But let's just get straight into this recipe. Now, this recipe is going to be for the 4-slot unit that you see a lot of people showing off lately, which is Guardian Soul, Absolute Glare, Crack 5, and Veteran's Resolve 5. So we're going to create Guardian Soul, create Crack 5, and create Veterans Resolve 5. Confirm, and don't affix by upslotting. Now, normally what you would see here with a lot of recipes is the fodder would usually have a Glare Catalyst, one of the abilities required to make Guardian Soul, and then either Crack 4 or Veterans Resolve 4. And then you would have to do that for multiple of the fodders. And there could potentially be like alterations to this. In fact, let me just throw this together real quick. So this is like an example of something you might see normally. However, you might see an alteration where maybe Aether Factor is kind of annoying to make, so we can try and throw Glare Catalyst over here onto this fodder, and then move Veteran's Resolve 4 onto this Photon or Glare over here. So now we can just make Aether Factor by itself. Now in this case, we're going to have this new fodder over here that has Crack 4, Veteran's Resolve 4, and Glare Catalyst. This fodder is really interesting because compared to other fodder, this one isn't that hard to create. Like, it's still going to be expensive because you are creating Crack 4 and all that, and you're probably going to need to use Augment Insurance when making this. But let's just compare real quick what it looks like trying to create this fodder versus, say, one of these fodders. So I'm going to expand out fodder 1 here as well as fodder 5 here. So I just expanded these out real quick, and the first thing I want to show off is, if we're looking at fodder 5 here, you'll notice that the max amount of abilities that we're going to have on each fodder is only 2, versus if we look at fodder 1, some of these are going to require up to 3 abilities on them, which will make it a lot more annoying to create. Now another benefit that this fodder has over this one is if you look over here, fodder 1 only has 1 free spot to make Crack 3 by itself, because we're creating Photon or Glare by itself already. Now for our fodder 5 though, we're able to create Crack 3 by itself 2 times, which is really nice due to how annoying Crack is to create. Now one con about fodder 5 is that it has a lower success chance compared to the other fodders. Let's say we wanted a 40% boost on these, and let's say we also did same equipment, and then let's also say that we did this during a 15% boost week. Like, at first you're going to notice that this is now 81%, which is really nice, and this is only at 54%. Now, either way, both of these you're going to need to use an Augment Insurance for. However, let's take a look inside of these, though. Now, if we try to create this fodder 3 that requires 3 abilities on it, this is going to have a 67% chance of success. Versus if we go over here and take a look at the other fodder, let's say we wanted to create this Glare with Crack 3 on it. We just use 2 Glares and 2 Crack 2s, confirm, confirm, and if we were to use a 40% boost here during a 15% boost week, we have a 100% chance. So everything in this fodder is a 100% chance. So although we have a lower chance here, we're making up for it by having 100% chance on everything inside of it. So when you see something like this, where this only has 54% chance, you would initially think like, well, this fodder is going to be way easier to make. But that's not really true because the process of creating this unit sucks. So the main reason I'm pointing all of this out is because that my recipe is going to rely a lot on this specific fodder. So let's get into my recipe now. We're going to reaffix this, and we're going to create it the same way, but we're going to move everything around. So I'm going to reorganize this real quick. There we go, and now you'll see that we have 3 of that fodder I was pointing out. After you create these 3, you just need to create Photon or Glare by itself, which we can't even make yet, and then we need to create Absolute Glare with Glare Catalyst, and then this fodder 5 is pretty much the piece that's going to tie all of this together, and we'll get to that last. So let's click confirm. I'm going to expand out one of these real quick, but I'm not going to go over it again. There we go, so I expanded it out just like before. I'm not going to do it for the other 2 though, since they are the same fodder. And I'm just going to put on these boosts real quick. So the next fodder we want to look at is going to be Photon or Glare, which we can't make yet, but it's pretty simple. You just need all these glares, confirm, confirm, and use a boost. Now next, we got fodder 4. This requires us to make Absolute Glare as well as Glare Catalyst. If you fix this, you'll see we can make Absolute Glare by using a bunch of Glare Catalysts as well as a Photon or Glare. Normally, you would create Glare Catalyst by using all of these glares. However, we also have the option of creating Glare Catalyst by using Glare Catalyst. This would give us a better chance of success, and since we already have Glare Catalyst being used to make the Absolute Glare, we might as well use this. So we're going to click confirm, and you'll see here, we don't really need to organize anything. 40%, and let's put the same equipment on all of these, because that's not very hard to do. And then for the last piece right here, this is the piece that's going to tie everything together. Unfortunately, I cannot expand this out in a Fix Assistant, because this fodder is going to rely on receptors, and for some reason, a Fix Assistant does not have Reverie Receptor. Maybe Reverie Receptor isn't a thing in the JP version of the game, but it definitely is a thing in Global. In fact, let me just show those off real quick in case you don't know where to get these. So we just go to the Rising Weapon Badge shop, go to Rising Weapon Badge 5, and if we go towards the bottom, there should be a bunch of units here. There they are. Right here, you'll see they have Gift Receptor, Elegant Receptor, but the 3 we care about is Soul Receptor, Factor Receptor, and Reverie Receptor. So in order to make this fodder that we want, we would need one of each of these. So as just a quick example, if we
do one without the other one.
were to try and make just Astral Soul and Aether Factor, we could use Soul Receptor and Factor Receptor. Click confirm, and this is what the recipe would look like for this. You would just have the Aether Factor and Astral Soul, and then you would have the two fodder that have the receptors on them. Now, like I said, I can't show this off with Reverie Receptor because Reverie Receptor isn't available in a Fix Assistant, but as you can see, it wouldn't be that hard to understand what you would be doing. It would be basically the same thing you see here. You just have another fodder with Mana Reverie and another fodder with the Receptor. Now, if I click confirm on this real quick, we can check out what the percent chance would be. Let's say we use same equipment. Let's also say we used a 40% aid. This would boost us to a 67% chance. We could also use a 45% aid if we wanted to get it to 72%. I'm going to leave it at 40% though. This says we have a total success chance of 45%. Now, if we were to do this with Mana Reverie as well, this would come down to a 30% chance of success. So this fodder that we're making right here is going to be the hardest fodder to make for this recipe. So if you do plan on using this recipe to create your Guardian Soul unit, I would definitely suggest trying to get this piece out of the way first. If you're lucky, you may only need to go through one augment insurance to make this. However, there is a good chance that you might need to use a few to get this fodder done. Now, Now, for the most part, that's everything that I need to talk about related to this recipe. I did mention that one of the other benefits of this was the ability to create a market for these fodders, and that's mostly just because this recipe relies primarily on 2 pieces of fodder, which is going to be the Glare Catalyst, Veterans Resolve, and Crack fodder, which you need 3 of, as well as the Mana Reverie, Astral Soul, and Aether Factor fodder. So if you had a ridiculous amount of Meseta, you could easily just buy these off the market. However, these fodders are expensive and they will probably remain expensive, and depending on how much the prices of Crack and stuff go up, you shouldn't be surprised to see the prices of these fodders go up with them. There's going to be a link to this recipe down in the description if you need it. If you have any questions about this recipe or any suggestions, make sure to leave a comment down below. And if you enjoyed the video and you want to see more, make sure to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next one. So a while back, I made a video going over the recipe I used to affix 250 attack onto my new Rivulet weapons. It's been a while since that video, and since then we've actually gotten access to new abilities that we can affix, and we were all given free Rivulet weapons, so I think now would be a good time to show you my new updated recipe that'll give you better stats with only a little bit extra work. Now, if you haven't seen that video already, I am quickly going to go over the base recipe that we used in that video. However, if you're still confused after that, I would recommend going back and watching that video, because in that video I go over exactly what's going on more in depth and explain exactly how the base recipe works. So to get started, I'm going to go into Affix Assistant, but this time I'm actually going to use a version of it that has the global translations, and we're going to start by first creating the original recipe. Since it's a Rivulet weapon, we want Junk 5 and Junk 4. We're going to use Grand Might as our add augment item. We want Mana Reverie, Astral Soul, Might 6, Doombreak 3, and Mastery 5. We click Affix, we don't affix by off-sliding, and as a quick summary, the way this works is we craft Mana Reverie, and everything else is a special ability factor. Click Confirm, and then we just gotta reorganize everything. Our special ability factors are not going to be on our main weapon. We want to put our Junk over on our main weapon, move Reverie Catalyst off of our main weapon. We want to keep Omega Memoria by itself, and we want Reverie Catalyst to be on all of the weapons that have special ability factor. And basically the way this recipe originally worked was you would get 4 weapons that have these as their special ability factors. Might 6 can be found on dim weapons, Doombreak 3 and Mastery 5 can be found on weapons found in the collection folder, and then Astral Soul can be found on Ray and Union weapons, I believe. After you have these 4 weapons set up to use their ability factor, in order to be able to use an ability factor, you need to get the weapon to the correct amount of slots, as well as level it up to 35. The hardest part of the recipe is going to be upsliding the weapons. Then you need to get Reverie Catalyst onto these weapons as well. In order to get Reverie Catalyst on these weapons, use the special ability factor of Profound Weapons. That means you're going to need to get 4 more weapons prepared to use their special ability factors. If we click Confirm, I'll show you exactly what I mean. We click Affix, and Reverie Catalyst is a special ability factor. Click Confirm. Might 6 is going to be whatever our main weapon was, and then Reverie Catalyst is going to be our Profound Weapon. Click Confirm, and it is a 100% chance to create this fodder. You would then do the same for these 3 weapons, and then you would just buy a weapon with Omega Memoria at 8 slots. You could potentially try crafting this, but at the moment you would save much more money if you just bought them, because you can currently get Omega Memoria already on a weapon as a drop. So that was just a quick overview of the original recipe, but before we go on to the new recipe I'm going to show off, I think I should mention suggestions that were given in the comments of the last video that I agree with. If we go back to affixing this, there is an ability called Phrase Decay. This inflicts 5% more damage on enemies affected by gelling. As long as you're playing with a team of players, there's a good chance that enemies are going to be affected by gelling. Normally the only case you have to worry about the enemies not being affected by gelling is when you're playing solo. However, if you're playing as a class that can inflict gelling, then this is still good for you even in solo play. And basically, people were suggesting that Phrase Decay is better than 30 attack because 5% more damage is going to be much more than just 30 attack. So what you would do is you would either switch out Doombreak 3 or Mastery 5 for the Phrase Decay. So switching that in, we click Affix, and it's the same process because Phrase Decay is also a special ability factor. Now we're back to the original recipe, and I'm going to show you what improvements I've made to this recipe with the new content we have available. The main thing we are missing from this recipe is a glare. Right now you can see that these are the glares available to us. The ones grayed out are not available yet, except for Varuna glare. Varuna glare is actually in the game. I'm not sure why it's grayed out. But the main 3 glares I want to point out are the Exegial glare, the Mitra glare, and the Varuna glare. The Mitra glare and Varuna glare are basically the same thing, except Mitra glare is going to give you 30 melee power and 30 ranged power, whereas Varuna glare is going to give you 30 melee power and 30 tech power. Besides the power, you're also going to get 20 defense, 20 HP, and 2 PP. So if we were to switch this in for, say, Doombreak 3, we would still have 250 attack, but our defenses have jumped up quite a bit, as well as our HP. We did lose 2 PP though, but 2 PP is nothing compared to what we've gained in stats. Now, I also mentioned Exegial glare. This is only going to give us 20 attack, however, this 20 attack is going to be spread across all 3 stats rather than just the 2. Not only are we getting the 20 attack, but we are also going to get 50 defense. Now, we are not going to be getting the HP or the PP from the other 2 glares, but in my opinion, the amount of defense stats we're going to get from this is worth the sacrifice of 10 attack, 20 HP, and 2 PP. Now, you don't have to go for the recipe I'm going for. The original recipe for this is the 250 attack one with Mitra glare or Varuna glare, but in my own opinion, I want to try and go for the Exegial glare. This is going to drop me down
Just come up for a while.
My wife and I would like to ask you a couple of questions.
Sure. Go ahead, shoot.
Well, for instance,
Just come up for a while. We'll talk inside.